CQ RAYNET, CQ RAYNET. This is Golf 4 November Romeo Charlie, operated today by Greg, Golf 0 Delta Uniform Bravo, serving as net control for the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net. This net meets each Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time and is open to all amateur radio operators interested in emergency communications. The primary purpose of the net is to provide the opportunity for members to test equipment, exchange traffic news, opinions and information. Additional information can be found on the RAYNET-UK website at www.raynet-uk.net. This is a directed net, which means all calls are to be made to the net control station unless you're instructed otherwise, and all RAYNET-UK operators are invited and encouraged to check into the net. When you do check in, please announce your call sign slowly and phonetically, followed by your name, and if you wish to leave the net immediately after checking in, then please call in and out. Otherwise, if you want to leave on subsequent turns, please make it very clear at that time. After I've heard a few check-ins, I'll repeat I've heard. If you're not acknowledged, then please try again. And I will call for any strays, that's people who've missed their turn at the end of the UK and international sections. So as usual, I'll now begin taking check-ins to the RAYNET-UK weekly activity net in call sign number order. So any stations with figure 8 in their call wishing to check in, please call now. This is G4 and RC.
G8NRC, G4NRC, G8KLC. Sorry, Greg. In and out today.
Golf 8 Echo Yankee, G8 EEY, name is Mike.
G4 and RC, so I've got good afternoon to Phil, Golf 8 Kilo Lima Charlie in and out, and Mike, Golf 8 Echo Yankee staying with me. Any other 8s please, G4 and RC, over.
Golf 8 Sierra Delta Uniform, name's Bob. In and out please.
G4 and RC, good afternoon Bob, Golf 8 Sierra Delta Uniform, also copied as in and out. Okay, let's have 7, stations figure 7 in their call sign please, go ahead, G4 and RC, over.
Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta, name is Stephen, Tame Valley Group.
Golf 7 November Echo Hotel, G7NH.
G4 and RC, good afternoon Stephen, Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta, any other 7s please, G4 and RC, over.
G7NH, Golf 7 November Echo Hotel.
For an RC, good afternoon Graham, Golf 7 November Echo Hotel. Okay, let's go for 6s, stations figure 6 in their call sign please, go ahead, over.
Good afternoon, Golf 6 Papa Delta Echo, in and out please Greg.
G4 and RC, good afternoon Chris, Golf 6 Papa Delta Echo, copied in and out. Any other 6s please, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard, so let's have 5, stations figure 5 in their call sign please, go ahead, G4 and RC, over. RC, very few 5s in the organisation still, so let's go for 4, stations figure 4 in their call sign please, go ahead, G4 and RC, over.
G4LC, Golf 4 Kilo Uniform Juliet, Trevor in Hertfordshire.
G4 and RC, I've got Trevor, Golf 4 Kilo Uniform Juliet staying with me. Keith, Golf 4 Whiskey, Quebec Bravo. There was a blip, but no audio. Try again, over. For Whiskey, Quebec Bravo, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, G4 WQB. No, that was just the thing clocking in. I'm in and out, over.
G4 WQB, acknowledged, copied in and out. Thanks, Keith. Any other fours, please? G4 and RC, over.
For G4KIL, in and out, over.
Golf 4 Hotel Uniform Foxtrot, G4HUF, Phil. G4 and RC, good afternoon. Philip, Golf 4 Kilo India Lima, in and out, and Phil, Golf 4 Hotel Uniform Foxtrot, staying with me. Okay, that was 2 goes at 4, so let's have 3. Stations figure 3 in that call sign, please go ahead, over. Second call, any stations figure 3 in their call sign, please go ahead, over.
Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, Ian, in and out. Good afternoon. Thanks for running that track. Right, G3VH.
G3VH, you might have doubled with Ian, Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, who was in and out there. Chris, are you staying with me or in and out, over?
G3VH, Rain Peninsula. In and out this afternoon. Greg, thanks for running that. G3VH.
G3VH, acknowledge Chris, in and out that time, thank you. Let's have 2, stations figure 2 in their call sign, and that includes you intermediate 2s. Please call now, G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, second call, any stations figure 2 in their call sign, please go ahead, G4 and RC, over. For an RC, nothing heard, so let's have 1. Stations figure 1 in their call sign, please go ahead, over. Second call, any stations figure 1 in their call sign, please go ahead, G4 and RC, over. For an RC, nothing heard, so let's have Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please call now, over.
M0 JSA Alan East, in and out today, please, Greg.
Mike 0 Juliet Sierra Alpha, good afternoon, Alan. Copied you in and out. Any other Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please, over?
Mike 0 Juliet Victor Zulu, Les from Leicester, in and out.
For an RC, good afternoon, Les. Mike 0 Juliet Victor Zulu, and copied you as in and out. Okay, let's have Golf 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please, over.
Golf Whiskey 0 Juliet Lima X-Ray. Good afternoon, Greg. Name is Andy. RAYNET Pembrokeshire. No traffic today, so in and out, please, over.
For an RC, good afternoon, Andy. Golf Whiskey 0 Juliet Lima X-Ray. Copied you in and out. You know you are going to need a school note if you are going to not be around one day, so I know when we finish the UK section. Okay, let's shortcut and have any UK station that's missed their turn to check in. Please call now, over.
G4 MRC, Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar, up Northern Ireland, and a night break.
G4 XUR.
G4 and RC, so that got me Philip, Mike India 0, Mike Sierra Oscar in and out, and David Golf 4 X-Ray Uniform Romeo, I think staying with me. Was a bit of a static crash at the end of your over, but not long enough to have masked in and out. So, do we have any international liaison stations? Any of our colleagues from abroad? That's usually Nordsamband of Norway, Arran in Ireland, Aries in Slovakia. Any of our international friends, please? G4 and RC, over.
Lima for 6 in your mic, number Hans in and out break.
For 6 India Mike, good afternoon, Hans. Copied you as in and out. Good to hear you again. So, final call, any UK or international stations that missed their turn to check in for the nets, please call now. G4 and RC, over. Zero Mike Foxtrot Sierra, just got on microphone click, no audio, over.
Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, Drew. I'm not quite sure what happened that time.
Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, that time doesn't count, it's this time that matter, Drew, you're now checked in. Thanks for that. So that takes us to 19 check-ins for the day, but some of you thankfully have seen the basketball calendar, so quite a few in and outs there. Right, so usual reminder before anybody says anything wrong, this net is being live streamed by Graham, G7NEH to YouTube today. Past live streams and recordings are available by searching G7NEH, that's Golf 7 November Echo Hotel on YouTube. It's a time-constrained net today due to the basketball game I have to get to, and we may have a slightly different second round of contacts depending on how we get on. Since this news gets a wider airing through the Friday posting to all members, just a note to Arden users who have got Microtic HAP Light, that's Hotel Alpha Papa Light as in Lima India Tango Echo nodes. After a few weeks of testing, it seems that the latest firmware version 3.25.2.0 leads to some very erratic behaviour in setting up tunnels to other users. In my own case, the node would be rebooting itself every few hours. Rolling back to 3.24.10.0 restores good order until the issues get fixed, and the issues are logged with the Arden organisations trying to fix them, and some others with the latest firmware release. 5 groups were active over the weekend, but noticeable is the number of group AGMs which are creeping in. If there are committee changes as a result of your meetings, then please could group controllers log them through members.raynet-uk.net so we know who to get hold of. On the energy networks, after a brief rally through the week, the gas storage networks came back to around 27% full, and the electricity networks aren't showing any significant loss of load probabilities over the coming few days. So, let's see what news from everybody. Mike, Golf 8, Echo Echo Yankee, G4, NRC, over.
G4 NRC from G8 EEY. Good afternoon, Greg. Yes, it's it's not too bad in this part of the world. We've had some nice warm days, and we've had some very cold days going down to not much above zero. 8.4 centigrade today, 1025 millibars, 78% relative humidity, 55% cloud cover, and 9.2 miles per hour from more or less due north. Oh, yeah, a bit drafty. Yeah, all noted. You probably will remember this week that we've got a com meeting on Friday, and I have to try and remember that I've got a VFCC meeting on Wednesday, so it's going to be a moderately busy week, but not from the operational point of view, from G8 EEY.
Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee G4 and RC returning. Okay, all copied with the minor exception, I think, of a comma where there should have been a full stop in the log, but my fingers are getting less fat the more typing you make me do. So, all noted. Thanks for the reminder. I was aware of that one. Started to gather up my naughty list already. Voluntary sector meeting this week is a reminder that some local authorities do seem to have a spring and autumn regime to these things. So I'm wondering when mine's likely to be for Cheshire. So we'll chase, but not too quickly at the moment. There's more than enough other things to be getting on with. Okay, thanks, Mike. Stephen, got Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta G4 and RC over.
G4 NRC, this is Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta. Very good afternoon to all on the net. Slightly different working conditions this week. Still using the Alens HD2 DMR radio, but I've actually purchased the speaker microphone for it, so that's what I'm using at the minute, the speaker microphone. And yeah, so a little bit of a reminder to all members who are allowed on the 5 MHz band, a couple of dates for your diary. Exercise Blueham, the RAF Air Cadets. First weekend, 29th and 30th of March, that's the first exercise, and then there's one a little bit later on, the 21st and 22nd of June. You're all more than for the exercise. And talking of the voluntary sector, on the 20th of March, so that's Thursday, we have Cheshire Search and Rescue Team visiting the squadron, so that should be quite interesting for the cadets. And I may name drop RAYNET and just remind them that we are still around. Over.
Victor Sierra Delta G4 and RC returning. Oh, they're aware of that, since a number of their people are actually licensed amateurs, so they know we're there. We spoke with them reasonably a bit last year with the loss of power exercises and stuff. Well, that's when they sort of said they're quite happy. Their search and rescue normal radio component is, as long as their big blast covers the area they're searching in, that's fine. They weren't quite as wide area as the 4x4 response requirement. However, pass on our regards. And Blueham dates noted. I need to remember to jolly those across the HF mailing list as well. Okay, let's see how we're doing for views. Graham, Mike 7, correction, Golf 7, November Echo Hotel, G4 and RC over.
G4 NRC, G7 in the H. Right, okay. Would have helped if I'd looked at the views beforehand, wouldn't it? So I'll give a quick view on that the next over. At the moment we've got about 5 viewings on this week's net, and yeah, not a lot to add this end. I've got my Arden node back up and running with the up-to-date firmware, and even resurrected another node that I thought had actually bricked, and that's up and running as well. So yeah, the new firmware is a lot, or visually a lot different than the last one I had. So there we go. G4 NRC, G7EH.
G4 and RC returning. Yes, I saw your nodes connected in, so nothing needed to change on my end, so that means my Arden Gateway is able to be a server and a client for tunneling, so that's working fine. Just note with the new wonderful graphical user interface for Arden with its grey on grey, the updating firmware button isn't, and the issues button particularly is not very obvious on screen, or at least it wasn't to me. So it does take a little bit of finding its way around. Okay, thanks Graham. Let's go to Trevor. Golf 4 Kilo Uniform Juliet, G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, G4KUJ reply. Good afternoon, Greg, and everybody else. Come to Arden in a second. Just to note that the YSF to DMR bridge was not working earlier, just before around lunchtime or just before lunch. But I pinged Guy, and he did the magic wand waving, and it's all up and working again. Fine. Yeah, the Arden situation at this end, as you know, I've swapped over from the HAP Light to an AR300 for the main router at the moment, and that is working absolutely solidly. And the link that for the tunnel that Drew sent me works straight away, which is absolutely fine. And through that, I've managed to look at stations in New Zealand and Australia, and even you, Craig, via two Scottish stations, a north and northeastern station, and then back to you. But we still haven't sussed why you and I can't seem to get a tunnel going direct. The one thing I did note was that when I had the HAP Lite working, the free RAM was normally about sort of 8 megs, but it was going up and down from about 3 or 4 to 8, and the tunnels were okay, but the mesh on 2.4 was very erratic. That's the issue I had, and I wrecked the HAP Lite yesterday because I didn't find a button to do a reboot from the screen, so I've got to start again on that. But as the AR300s have got 75 megs of RAM free, I'm tempted to leave that as the main link at the moment until they sort the problem out. G4 NRC, G4 KUJ.
For KUJ, G4 and RC, yes, well, as we pinged between ourselves, but for the wider class, whatever they've done in the latest firmware release for the HAP Lights has really messed with the memory management. So for me, it wasn't the 2.4 gigs mesh that got erratic. I couldn't actually get a Wi-Fi hotspot as if I was a real ordinary member of the user services. So the presentation of the issues was different depending on what was happening with the memory at the time. However, we have had tunneling work before between us in the past. I'm sure it's just some awkward setting, but I'm now kind of happier that at least my bits are where it should be in terms of being able to send and receive tunnel connections with Graham and across to NetNet, which is my normal connection in. Okay, thanks Trevor, and I forgot to say on Graham's over, if anybody on YouTube has questions, then put the questions in the chat and Graham will relay them across to me as required. Phil, Golf 4 Hotel Uniform Foxtrot, G4 and RC, over.
This is G4HF. Good afternoon, everybody. And we'll start boring people with the Cheshire portion of the net. I've decided that I need to make another bloody effort to sort out the organisation of this group. as I was horrified to discover the other day that I've been in post for approaching 3 years. I still ain't got a deputy or a committee. So there'll be an email going out in the not too distant future, seeing if we can provoke something to get that particular aspect of the organisation resolved. So I'd be far happier playing with equipment, engineering, nets and all sorts of other bits and pieces rather than sat at their keyboard typing emails and letters and what have you. So there might be an interesting email heading out to the group, and of course copies to you and Graham to keep you informed of why things are going wrong, and why you're lumbered with sorting out the mess, if it gets to that stage, but I sincerely hope that it doesn't. So that's probably the most exciting thing to mention. From a technical point of view, I've discovered my 4-meter handheld, so there's a chance I might be able to play with my 4-meter mobile and just check that it works, if nothing else. So that's all that's been going on at this end. I can't think of anything else exciting to mention, and we'll probably find that half of those listening have probably fallen asleep already. G4NRC, this is G4HUF.
G4HUF, G4NRC returning. I wouldn't worry about that, Phil. It was my impact more when we had my face on the video stream that deterred the viewers. That was more scary for attention grabbing. I sympathise with the operating rather than administrating. Seems to have spent a lot of time yesterday clearing hunks of emails to people, but we'll get there eventually. If it wasn't doing that, it was trying to diagnose ardent faults between myself and Trevor. Well, we will prevail somehow. Okay, 2 left on this turn. David, Golf 4, X-Ray Uniform Romeo, G4NRC, over.
G4X, you are returning. Yeah, I took a little slightly longer delay to make sure it locked in, but monitoring it via the video link. Not a lot to say. We had our first event of the year last weekend, and I'm sure you're aware of that with the permits, etc., Greg. And we had 22 members out, 2,500 runners on a full marathon, and we recorded 3,187 control station key clicks, i.e. transmissions. So that's the statistics I can report for our first event of the year. I'll pass it back to you. Thank you for running the net, and I'll continue to listen through to the end of the net. G4NRC, this is G4XUR.
You are G4NRC returning. Okay, yeah, 2,500 runners on a full marathon. I'm trying to think, Chester full marathon is about 5,000 or so. But we have an interesting glitch that we have a metric marathon that runs in the opposite direction around the course. Since it's 26 kilometres rather than 26 miles, they can just about make it work. But it gets there. Noted the event completed successfully, so unless you drop me an email to say otherwise, I will drop the current frequency allocation certificate for you. Then it's clear. We'll also need to communicate with you that there are some repeaters intruding into your area, which will further limit your frequency choice, might expedite some of those frequency moves. Okay, thanks David. And Drew, Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC, M0MFS.
Okay, we'll start with the simple one. We helped out with Operation Pilgrim last week, which was a trainee paramedic exercise. So about 50 almost ready to certified paramedics from Plymouth University had a major incident exercise at a Plymouth football ground. I didn't make it myself personally, but we had one operator on site, and we put in a PMR net for them, with the proviso that next year we'll be more involved with the planning and organising. So that was an interesting one. On the island front, I have a hap light, and it does have a tunnel on it. In fact, it's my tunnel to NetNet is on there, but I think it's probably running nightly build, and I haven't seen any real problems with that. I've got, I think, 8 tunnels into the super node and probably 5 tunnels into my gateway node, and I've not seen any tunnel issues. But it's my super node is a HAP AC2 and my gateway node is an AC3, so a bit more CPU and a bit more memory to play with. I'm guessing that it's the same old story with life. Software tends to bloat, and the older hardware tends to struggle to support it. But the guys are normally quite good at fixing things. The reason I've gone to the nightly build is we are testing a new algorithm for the routing through the Arden mesh. So if you go to the new version of the software, you'll start to see Babel nodes appearing on the main screen. Other than that, anything else, I'll come back on the second round from M0MFS.
Mike Foxtrot Sierra, Chief for NRC, returning. Okay, yes, wasn't aware he'd got a HAP light as well, but what I copied off that was it hasn't got the latest firmware on and is working okay. Looking at the issues log for the software, for the firmware version, they seems to be pointing the finger at one of the memory management packages that is a little bit flaky. But there was that, and there's some other issues that they brought into the latest version that need a bit of kicking. I'm not brave enough to move to nightly build. I'd rather go to something or stay on something that I know works. So that's where we're at, and I'll probably hold like that until we get the next stable version released, and then give it another try. I'm sure I have something further for you as well, because Pilgrim wobbled my head a little bit, but I've got a few boobs to think about that. Okay, we've got 13 minutes to go. Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, back to you, Mike, Chief RNRC, over.
G4NRC from G8EEY. Yes, I was just thinking from the admin point of view. If you know any Gilbert and Sullivan, I'm beginning to think of myself as Pooh Bar, as I'm unfortunately carrying about way too many roles on the local committee, because nobody wants to do it really. They're all too busy doing other things. Apart from that, and I did find a reference to MB9 Hotel Alpha Alpha on one of the more obscure repeater sites. It was listed as being a 2-meter repeater with an offset somewhere in the 260 odd meg range. So they did it that way. But it's definitely out in the wild there from G8EY saying thanks for running the net again, Greg. Over.
8 Echo Echo Yankee, Chief for NRC, returning. Yes, there is a way, there's an API that some of these sites are using to get the data straight off the UK repeater website, and they will put their own interpretation of. I don't think the planet's still quite ready for crossband repeaters the way we work them, but it's there, and I do have to get stuck back into that system again as we get ready to deal with the high power stuff that's moving around. Okay, thanks for coming on today, Mike. And Stephen, Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC, this is Mike 7 Victor Sierra Delta. Yes, on the subject of the 4x4 response that you mentioned, I do have a contact over in that team. He's actually a staff member at another local squadron. I was talking with him a while ago about their radio communications. They do apparently have some sort of repeater system that they can utilise, but they mainly actually use Zello for a lot of their routine communications, so POC, well, over the internet really. And one for Phil, I've also got 4-meter kit, handheld mobile, and I've also got PRC 352, so you never know, we might be able to break 4 meters out on an event. Over.
Seven Victor Sierra Delta, G4 and RC. Okay, that's worth the other public service announcement. So, remind us that since the Cheshire 4-meter frequency used to be 70.350, that frequency is pretty stuffed at the moment, courtesy of a internet voice gateway in the Liverpool area, which is covering an awful long way. So, at the moment, I'm using 70.375 for Cheshire RAYNET use. Amongst my own group. 4x4 response, yeah, equally got contacts there, and we had them through the discussions last year. They had been building out a repeater system, having recognised that Zello would fall over as fast as the power and phone systems would, so they were getting a layered response, and were trying to get access to some fairly high points, given they've got to cover a good chunk of the northwest for their organisation. Okay, thanks, Stephen. See you next week. Graham, G7NEH, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC, G7NEH, returning. Yeah, okay. So last week we had 22 views and 5 likes. And this week, as I said before, website. Yeah, there's 5 viewing at the moment, and we have a total of 13 views today. So all well and good. Nothing else on this end. So I'll catch up with you in the week, Greg. And thanks for doing the net. G4NRC, G7NEH.
G7NEH, G4 and RC. Okay, Graham, I appreciate doing the streaming as always, and for those who are watching online, Graham appreciates the subscriptions and the like buttons, because it helps promote the videos up the list for people to learn about what we do. Okay, Trevor, final from you please. G4KUJ, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC, G4KUJ. Yeah, keep it brief as you're short on time. Comment to Drew is, I think in some of the paperwork that Greg found on the history of the current issues, there was a consensus that with the light, the tunnel activity was absolutely fine. It was the RF meshing that was seemed to be the main complaints. Nothing further. Thanks for running the net, Greg. G4 NRC, G4KUJ.
G4KUJ, G4 NRC. Okay, with a future look, excuse me, Trevor. Went out shopping today rather than tomorrow night, so while I can't do much this evening to progress what's going wrong with the tunnelling between us and Arden, I will be around hopefully tomorrow evening and we can have a go. We'll see what we do to get to fix it. And that'll do for that one. Thanks for coming on today. Phil, a final from you. G4HUF, G4 and RC, over.
This is G4HUF, short and sweet. Right, thanks for running the net. Stephen's comments about 4-meter kits noted, and your comments about the the change in 4 meter frequency in Cheshire, also noted. That's it from me. Watch out for those emails, and talk to you soon. This is G4HUF clear. Bye bye.
G4HUF, G4NRC. Okay, bye Phil. And yeah, we'll look forward to whatever's coming through next. Tailing off the net this week, then it's true. Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC and 0 MFS. Yeah, okay, thanks for the update on the light. I don't actually run RF on any of my lights. All my RF is point-to-point on ubiquity loco stations. I do have mesh on the bigger node, but not on the lights. So I may well have not seen it. The light is really just I've got a couple of lights, and they're really just to add a bit of structure to the mesh. And I've got one in the shack that supports the Asterix server and my ADSB monitoring, but it's not. I don't really do much with it, so that might explain why I've not seen it. Other than that, at some point, Greg, I think I need to better understand what repeater pairs we actually have that are usable in Devon. For Pilgrim, like I said, we did it on Business Light, and to be honest, we're as a group we're probably veering away from amateur frequencies and starting to think more about using DMR frequencies. So, but that's a discussion for another day. Thanks for running the net. 73s to everybody. Catch you next week from M0 MFS.
Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, G4NRC returning. Okay, well, if I had 25-hour days, what's been in my mind was to try and set up just a drop-in Teams session for people with questions to come along and ask, and then I don't have to repeat myself so much on emails, because although Phil said watch out for emails, I did spend a lot of yesterday catching up on the previous 7 days worth. So the repeater pairs I'll catalogue somewhere, and then maybe we can discuss it. And of course, Salzlaw did say that one of the pairs we've got in the southeast is very close to a Netherlands repeater which runs on the same pairs. So cross-border stuff, especially to the south of the country, can be problematic. Okay, right, let's start to bring things to a close then, so I can get away on time. So thanks everybody for taking time out to participate this afternoon. Be careful, have a good week, and until next Sunday afternoon at 1600 local time, I'll close the RAYNET UK weekly activity net and return talk groups 23531, Pheonix and Brandmeister, and 50 23531 in the RAYNET UK system back to being an open net rather than a directed net. 730 all. This is G4NRC now closing and reverting to my normal call sign of call 0 Delta Uniform Bravo. Bye bye.